Welcome back to another edition of Music Monday from the podcast Nurture the Mind. I am your host, Cole Poots, and we have another music reaction installment. It has been a while. For the last however many weeks, I have been trying out different content. I think I did the vinyl update video, then it was like the apartment tour. And then last week we were talking about why do we lack confidence at times throughout our lives. And now I am finally getting myself back into the music realm by doing pretty much what my channel is known for, which is music reactions. And as always, we have a new artist to the channel. This is really my first exposure to this said artist. I have heard her on a feature before on a Tyler the Creator song called Balloon, and I very much enjoyed that song. I would say I more so enjoyed Tyler the Creator. I enjoyed his part on the song. I wouldn't say I enjoyed hers as much. I mean, she did win some Grammys for the last album that she put out, and on March 5th, so just a little bit ago, just a few days ago, she released, I think, what is two singles. You have Anxiety and you have Denial is a River. And without further ado, I don't know why I'm not mentioning the name. You guys probably know because you clicked on the video, you saw the title. It is Doechii. I don't know anything about Doechii. I watched the Grammys. I saw that she won some awards, especially for her album. So I'm assuming people like her. She must have had a really good album that she put out. And I think I was on YouTube and I was looking at the trending music and I saw Anxiety by Doechii, but it was just like a visualizer, so it wasn't like a full-blown music video. And I clicked on it and I was like, oh, there's no actual music video. So like, let's just go to Apple and let's listen to this song. Anytime you put Anxiety in a title, you know, I am immediately drawn in because it is something that I have struggled with over the course of my life, as I think most humans can relate to, especially in this day and age. We have so many things that are thrown our way that cause us anxiety. I mean, we are just like overstimulated to the max. So I'm just curious, I'm curious to see what Doechii says about anxiety. Like, what is the concept for this song? Is it the anxiety that she experiences on a personal level, or is it like more broad? Does it apply to, the human race, the world, kind of like I was just talking about us as a society and as a globe just being so overstimulated most of the time? I'm just curious to see what this song is about, because I think it's an issue that a lot of us can relate to and an issue that pertains to a lot of us. So without further ado, I am going to get into this song. Again, first real exposure to Doechii that wasn't her being a feature on another track. This is me like introducing myself to her solo work. I guess if Anxiety goes by pretty quickly, maybe I will get into Denial is a River, but Anxiety is the longer song at 4 minutes and 9 seconds. And I don't want to make this a long video, but typically when I do music reactions, they end up being a little bit more lengthy, because I always feel like I'm able to pull a lot of stuff out of it. It goes underneath the surface, so we'll see how it goes. No promises here on what the length will be. This is an instrumental of a popular song. What song is that? What artist is that? I'm blanking. You guys will have to let me know.
Anxiety, keep on trying me. I feel it quietly, trying to silence me. Yeah, my anxiety can't shake it off of me. Somebody's watching me, and my anxiety. Natural hustler, think I need a your back is a nice tease. I tried to escape, my life is an x-ray. I'm sorry, a sex tape, you only get one take. Quiet on the set, please. Rolling anxiety in 3, 2. Anxiety, keep on trying me. I feel it quietly, trying to silence me. Anxiety, shake it off of me. Somebody's watching me. It's my anxiety. From Florida, what's in that clear blue water? No limits, no borders. What's in that new world order? Marco, Polo, Polo, Negro, run from Popo, Popo, blue light in that roll, ho. And it's like, I get this tightness in my chest, like an elephant is standing on me, and I just let it take over.
Is that a shaker in the background? There it is, Anxiety from Doechii. Yeah, so was that a cover? She used the sample from that one song. Isn't it the song where it goes like, you're just somebody that I used to know? I don't know what the song title is, and I don't know like the artist or the group that it comes from, but like we've all heard that song before. And I you can't really say a cover, right? Because she made up like her own set of lyrics, so she just must have like pulled the sample or whatever from that song. But yeah, you know, she had a few verses, which I don't remember everything that was said in the verses, but pretty much a lot of that song, you know, the things that were repeated was pretty straightforward, talking about anxiety, like it's trying to get me. There at the end, she's talking about this feeling that she has, this like tightness that exists on her chest. It's like this elephant that is suffocating her, is stepping on her. And yeah, obviously like a very interesting topic or subject to bring up. And I don't mean this to sound weird, like saying like it's cool to see or cool to hear about her talking about it, but just knowing that like, hey, like, even, you know, these people in these positions, these, you know, famous musicians, famous artists, actors, actresses, business people, people in sports, athletes, like, hey, like a lot of us struggle with this. It's not just like, you know, the regular working person, you know, it's like a lot of people have dealt with some form of anxiety at some point or many different points throughout the course of their lives. And so it's always cool to hear like those firsthand experiences and just know that you're not alone, because I think oftentimes when we're going through our issues, if it's like anxiety or if it's depression, you know, it makes it feel like the world and everything is very isolating and lonely, and that just perpetuates the depression and the anxiety that you may be experiencing. It'd be interesting to like run a poll or like just ask you guys to comment in the comment section below if you guys have had experience with anxiety or whatever your mental health issues were, and you know, just give your firsthand experience and talk about how it's been and how you overcame it or how you deal with it, how you deal with the symptoms, how you manage the symptoms, because really that's all you can do once you figure out that it's there. That's how my life has been, you know, since my early 20s, is just recognizing what was there and then trying to figure out what are effective tools, what are effective ways to manage, you know, these symptoms or these feelings. And, you know, sometimes in life they kind of creep up and they come back up and they stay for a little bit longer than anticipated or welcomed. And then I've had moments, you know, since my early 20s where I felt minimal experiences with anxiety, OCD, overthinking, depression, whatever the issue may be. You know, it's again just like a very interesting conversation to have. You know, I really try and change my perspective on anxiety and depression specifically as I get older, and have to remind myself that, or any of those host of things, is actually a bad thing. I think they are indications. I think they are sirens. I think they are flags. I think they are trying to communicate something to you, and, you know, something that's out of whack in your life. Like a lot of times when you're anxious, you know, you're thinking a little bit too much. Well, anxiety or depression, I guess, a lot of times you're thinking a little bit too much about the past and how that's impacted you and you can't like move forward, or you're thinking a little bit too much into the future and like the uncertainty of things, and that causes you to feel that way. And I'm not saying you can't think about the past. I'm not saying you can't think about the future, because I think you have to always consider both of those things. But obviously we're all trying to achieve like this inner sense of peace, which a lot of times comes from being in the present moment. But, you know, I think if you feel like you're mildly depressed or even severely, it's, you know, I just had kind of an experience with this in January, a little bit in February. It's kind of like been off and on. It hasn't been going on fully for like those 2 months. But I would say I got to a point where I kind of felt like slightly depressed. And I don't know if that's just like going through those winter months, as I say all the time, being here in Iowa, in the Midwest, and not being exposed to sunlight and getting outside and stuff like that. I'm sure it's a contributing factor, but there were like a lot of other things that I was thinking about. And I think like at the end of the day, it was like I just felt like kind of stagnant. I felt kind of like stuck in my life, and I don't feel like I was operating at my full capability, my full potential. And so I had to like listen to that side. I had to tune in, and obviously it sucks. Like you don't want to feel that way, but a lot of times, man, it's like the precursor to transformation, evolution, and getting yourself out of that situation. Is you kind of have to know first, like, what is going on and like what is causing this. I don't think it's something to run from. I think people are way too quick to try and run away from how they're feeling, and it's all about really just the way that you're framing it and shaping it in your own mind. And, you know, same thing with anxiety, right? Like, so if you're feeling a lot of anxiety, I think a lot of times, not in every case, but a lot of times with anxiety, you know, maybe you just don't have a plan of the way forward. Like, again, maybe like complacent, stuck, you know, like just in this overall sort of lull, you know, place in your life where you're like stagnant. There's just a ton of stagnation. And maybe what you need is to listen to the anxiety and say, okay, like I'm feeling this way, so I need to create a plan. I need to figure out how to get from where I'm at right now, point A, and like what are the things that I need to do? How do I need to restore order to get to point B? So, you know, that's my like really big takeaway here recently, and like just talking about anxiety in general, sparking this conversation off of this song. Like I think people really just need to change their mindset and how they view those things. I think anxiety and depression only really become a problem when it persists and when it's been around for a long time. And even right there, like that's an indication to me that like if an individual comes up to me and says, oh my God, I've been this way for the last year or like 2 years, it's like, yeah, how did you not, like, why did you stay in that place? Like, have you not exercised any type of control in your life to get out of that situation? Like, we humans think we don't have a lot of control over our lives, and to some extent there's a lot of things that are outside of our control, but there are also like a bunch of things that are in your control, and like you can take steps, even if they're baby steps, to get away from an old mindset. Like, you don't have to stay in that place forever. So I think that's when it becomes bad, when you're talking about any of these host of issues, depression, anxiety, etc., is if you allow it to stay in your life. Then at that point you kind of look at the individual and you're like, dude, it's kind of your fault, that you're still here. I mean, maybe in the beginning, like, we will cut you some slack, like, damn bro, like, whatever that is that you're going through, kind of tough, whatever issue you're facing, but like, you got to do your own due diligence to try and get out of that situation. And here recently with my shit, like, I had to like rely on some other people, like people that are in my close circle. And like, that's another thing that can prohibit people and keep them stuck, is if they just keep to themselves. It's like, dude, like, life is incredibly hard for everybody. So do not feel any shame in being like, I need to reach out to people. I need to talk to people. I need to try and sort these things out. You can't do all of that on your own. You can do very minimal of that stuff on your own. You constantly have to be talking with other people, because the way that works on your brain is you eventually solve it by speaking about it with others, especially people that care about you. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a great song. I like the choice of using that sample. I think especially in her verses, like, she had really good flows. Like, she is a really strong, capable, quality rapper, and maybe that's no surprise to a lot of people that have already listened to her music, and maybe that's one of the biggest reasons why she won a Grammy, is because of her skill set. Again, I'm fresh to her, so like, I don't know a ton about Doechii, but yeah, I thought her flows were good. And when it came to like the anxiety and talking about that, it wasn't really deep necessarily. It was more so under, on the surface, or like right on the nose. So I was able to decipher that pretty quickly. But yeah, I think that was a quick snippet into what anxiety looks like for her. And, it looks different for everybody, but there's some commonalities that we all experience with anxiety, and that are traceable and retraceable to the people that are dealing with it. It looks the same for a lot of people, and then it looks different for a lot of people. So I thought it was a solid song. I don't know what this leads to, if it's this single and then Denial is a River. Is it going to lead to an album? Again, I don't know her history, so that's where people can come fill me in, but thought it was good, simple commentary on what anxiety feels like for her. I always love talking to people about these subjects, because I'm concerned with wanting to know how anxiety impacts them, because I know how it's impacted me before in the past. Going through it can definitely be a fucking bitch. It can be relentless, and that's the thing about life, is I don't think it ever fully goes away. I mean, at times it does, but it always kind of ramps up and comes back. I don't know if it's something that we can fully defeat. I think the thing that has helped me the most is just like not procrastinating and trying to tackle problems or issues right away as they arise. Like, even if they're small issues, if you attack them right away, they have no chance to grow and become bigger, and then you're going to have a bigger problem on your hands at a later date, instead of tackling that problem when it was minuscule and small. So I hope that helps some people. I hope that was some helpful advice. That's just like my firsthand account and experience with anxiety, and it's ever evolving. I'm learning constantly about how to deal with those things and to not allow myself to get to that headspace. But life is inevitable, and it will throw challenges your way constantly. We're constantly being challenged and confronted with struggles and whatnot. So I think that's just the human condition. That's why I say you got to change your mindset on these things. They're not necessarily bad things unless you let them stay around for way too long. A lot of times they're just trying to communicate something to you by this bodily sensation, how it's impacting your mind, like listen to it, listen to what it has to say, and then course correct after that, and you will be golden. So that's really all I have to say, guys. I thought it was a good song. I thought it sounded pretty good. I don't know, maybe my favorite part was her flows. That was probably the best part. I don't remember everything she said in her verses, but she had a great flow in those verses. So as always, guys, we're gonna dip out, and I always say 4 things that I ask that you guys do if you came over here, if you watch the content, if you enjoyed this video, if it was of value, if it was not a waste of time, do one of these 4 things and help me grow my channel and my audience and all those good things. Number 1, please subscribe to the channel. Number 2, like the video. Number 3, comment in the comment section below. And number 4, please share this content, whether it's on social media or if you could talk about it with somebody in person. Anything out of those 4 categories, if you do it, will drastically help improve the traffic and the audience over here on my videos and on this channel. So thank you guys once again for coming and hanging out. Always a great time, and I will see you next week for whatever comes next. If it's a reaction or if it's a different type of video, I never know. You know, we just try to live in the moment, not in the past too much, not in the future too much, and that is where you find serenity, peace, calm, joy, bliss. Guys, have yourselves a great day, and I will see you later.